Good day, everyone. Welcome to today's virtual lesson on the history of basketball. I'm Delailah Marrero, one of your instructors for this session. I hope you're ready to dive into some exciting learning. So just an overview, let's talk about what is basketball. Basketball is a team sport that each team consists of 5 players and each teams are divided on the court. Its objective is to shoot the ball through a basket of the opposing team to score points while following a set of rules. And did you know? Basketball is one of the most popular and loved sports in the world. No matter how much we love it, we should also know the origin of the sport and where it all began. Today, I will take you on a journey to understand the history of basketball and how it got to where it is today. So, let's start to watch a short clip on how basketball is being played on the modern world. So what did you observe? Did you observe how it is being played? The equipment used? Yes, the video was about modern basketball. But did you ever wonder how did it played before on its early years? So that would be our topic for today. At the end of this session, you're expected to Acquire knowledge on the history of basketball. Trace the history of basketball and identify the evolution of basketball. The origin of basketball. It began in 1891 and it was invented by Mr. James Naismith as being a less injury-prone sport than football, and he was 31-year-old already at this time. So the idea of the sport was to pass, score, and play defense. These key ideas made the sport enjoyable and much fun. And the game became quickly established, and it grew very popular in the 20th century, especially in America, and then branched out to more other corners of the world. And as the game became established in colleges first, the professional game, what we now know as the NBL or National Basketball League, soon followed, and the NBA became established in 1946 and grew into a multi-billion-dollar enterprise before the end of the 20th century, and as a result, the sport became an important part of American culture. So, let's discuss the invention of basketball. This was invented by, again, Mr. James Naismith in 1891 in Springfield, Massachusetts. He is a Canadian clergyman, physician, and a prior physical education instructor at YMCA, International Training School, which is now known as Springfield Colleges. So, upon the request of his superior, he was tasked with creating an indoor sport that would help athletes to stay in shape during the cold weather or during their winter season. And it originally consisted of an equipment of pitch baskets and a soccer-type ball. Plus, he made 13 rules for his game and divided his class of 18 students into 2 teams of 9 players and started teaching them the basics. So here are the 13 original rules that are created by Mr. Naismith. I would just flash it and you would pause if you want to read. And the objective of this creation was to throw the basketball into the fruit baskets that were nailed to the lower railing of the gym's balcony, and each time a point would be scored. The game had to be paused so that the janitor could get to the ladder to retrieve the ball. After some time, they finally removed the bottoms of the fruit baskets, having to retrieve the ball after each score was far from practical. And the first set of rules was published and distributed through the YMCA movement in the year 1892, and this resulted in the game spreading rapidly throughout Canada and USA. And at the same year, it was also played in England for the first time at Birkenhead YMCA. And it was the first official basketball game that occurred on January 20, 1892. In 1893, the game was introduced into the Physical Training College in Hampstead, now Dartford College of PE, by Madame Berman Osterberg, and she changed the game to suit the girls, led to the first rules of netball being published in 1901. The formation of FIBA, or also known as Federación Internacional de Basketball, or International Basketball Federation. In the first decades of this sport, it was growing, but it didn't really have any real international organization. So, it required several petitions by basketball supporters for it to be included as an Olympic demonstration in 1904. And after 20 years, in 1924, it was introduced as a demonstration sport at the Paris Olympic Games, and Great Britain won the title. In 1931, FIBA, the International Basketball Federation, was formed with a Welshman as its first secretary, and their work helped it helped the international game to become an Olympic sport in 1936, which was then won by the US national team. So how did basketball took the world by storm? Through the help of US Army and YMCA movement. And in 1893, the first ever international basketball match was organized, and members of the US Army took the game to India, Persia, China, and Japan. By 1990, there were 117 member countries in FIBA, making basketball the second largest of all the world's governing bodies and also the world's fastest growing and largest participated sport. And in general, the GB wheelchair team performed very successfully in the Paralympics, proving that it is a sport that is accessible and playable by all. The sport rapidly grew within its investors' lifetime, and Mr. Naismith lived long enough to get to see the sport he created become recognized as an Olympic sport 45 years after its invention. So in 1904, basketball was included as a demonstration sport in Summer Olympics. And this marked the first appearance of basketball in the Olympic Games. So take note, 1904, the first appearance of basketball in the Olympic Games. And in 1906, metal hoops, nets, and backboards were introduced to replace beach baskets. In 1909, unlimited dribbling is already allowed. And in 1932, FIBA was founded on June 18, and it is the first international basketball organization tasked with coordinating tournaments and teams. It also says here, Creación de la FIBA. And in 1936, basketball made its debut as an official Olympic sport at the Berlin Summer Olympics. And basing from this picture, the United States team won the gold medal, beginning a legacy of dominance in international basketball. And in 1946, the BAA or Basketball Association of America was founded, and which later merged with the National Basketball League NBL to form the National Basketball Association in 1950. So that is where National Basketball Association came from. And in the year 1950s to 60s, the NBA experienced significant growth popularity thanks to the emergence of legendary players like Bill Russell, like you can see on the picture. That is Mr. Bill Russell. He is a MVP and player of Boston Celtics. And in 1968, the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame opened on February 17. James Naismith, the first coach, says by the statue. And in 1976, the NBA and the ABA merged, bringing together the best players from both leagues and solidifying the NBA's position as the top professional basketball league. In 1979, the NBA adopts the three-point line from the first season for the 1979 to 1980 season, and in 1992, the U.S. Olympic basketball team, also known as the Dream Team, represented the United States in the Summer Olympics held at Barcelona. And it was comprised of NBA stars such as Jordan, Johnson, Bird, and they bought gold medal and showcased the global appeal of basketball in the process. In the year 2000, top players like O'Neal Bryant, Duncan Garnett, LeBron Iverson, Wade, and the rest raised the popularity of basketball. And in the present day, basketball continues to thrive globally, with an NBA attracting star players and a massive fan base around the world. The game has evolved, and with the invention of the three-point line has become more fast-paced and high-scoring than ever. So before, on the Olympics, the court was not that polished. They used the mud pits. For us now, it evolved into a rubberized, polished courts and covered gymnasiums. It also goes along with the pitch baskets. That's correct. Pitch baskets evolved into metal hoops and nets. The soccer balls or the soccer ball evolved into basketball. And also the rules have developed. Some were deleted from the rule book and some were adapted from the original 13 rules created by Naismith. So, now, let's test your understanding with a few quick evaluation questions. I'll ask the question and I want you to pause the video to think about your answer. Are you ready? Here's the first question. Who is the father of basketball? That's correct. James Naismith. Number 2. Basketball was invented in what year? That's correct. In the year 1891. Number 3. What are the two early equipment used in playing basketball? That's correct. Pitch basket and soccer ball. Number 4. How many rules were originally invented? That's correct. Letter C. There are 13 rules. For the last number, what does NBA stands for? Alright, I hope you got all the correct answer. For number 5, National Basketball Association. So let's sum up our lesson for today. So Mr. James Naismith is the father of basketball and he invented it in 1891. Its original equipment was pitch basket and soccer ball. The games was originally played by 9 players, which consisted of 3 forwards, 3 centers, and 3 guards. It also has 13 original rules. No dribble, the 3-point line, the greater tolerance of physical contact and fouls were being observed at that time. And in 1906, first metal hoops, nets, and backboards replaced pitch baskets. In 1909, allowed unlimited dribbling for the first time. In 1932, FIBA was founded. In 1936, basketball was included as an Olympic sport. In 1979, NBA adopts three-point line for the first time. In 1992, NBA stars showcases global appeal of basketball. And at the present day, basketball have a massive fan base around the world. And now, our session ends here. I hope you have gained new knowledge and lesson. I will end our discussion with an inspiring quotation that you may reflect upon from one of the basketball stars, and his quotation goes this way. Keep practicing. Never let someone tell you you're too small or too slow, by Chris Paul. So that's it. Thank you for your time and thank you for listening. I hope you learned something and see you on my next video. Goodbye!